a very big hare jumped, and we were in a very good position with the wind on our back, and so she made the chase. The rabbit was flying. The jackrabbit was flying. She was running and running and running, and she Maggie chased. She managed to fly with the wind on her tail and make the movement and get the jackrabbit by herself. I had to run a lot, and she kept the jackrabbit, and it was incredible.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast and our second installment of our first international series featuring Mexican falconry. Got to go ahead and start off by giving a quick shout out to all the people who have helped make this podcast possible over the last 4 years, being our longtime supporters in Marshall Radio Telemetry, the makers of the most carefully engineered and reliable tracking systems available. For more information on their awesome products, including their GPS system, head to marshallradio.com. I'd also like to thank Pursuit Falconry and Conservation Magazine for their continued support and promotion of the podcast. If you'd like another great falconry publication that is loaded with all kinds of great falconry content, including articles, pictures, and information about other falconry equipment, I highly recommend going to pursuitfalconry.co.uk and subscribing today. And of course, a special thank you goes out to the North American Falconers Association and the Falconry Fund, whose small grants program stimulates innovative science, outreach, and scholarly activities for the North American falconry community that specifically supports raptor conservation, falconry traditions, and falconers themselves. The program is much appreciated, and I hope you continue to offer it to everyone in the falconry community well into the future. And with that, our second installment of the International Mexican Falconry Series continues with Antonio Miguel Musi. Here we go. It's nice to meet you, Antonio. I appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. It's this is, like I said, this is my first time in Mexico. It's been really neat, kind of seeing some of the subtle differences. I mean, personally, I've been kind of surprised, at least on how much parts of this area. I mean, I know this area is fairly commercial compared to other parts of the country, but I've kind of been surprised to see just how much this looks like a typical U.S. city in some ways. Also, I mean, but has this area kind of always? I mean, how long has it taken for this area to kind of change into that? I mean, has this been like a gradual change, or was it kind of a quick change? Or
well, here in Monterrey, we're 2 hours from the U.S. border with Texas. So for many years, the city has been built in a similar way as the U.S. And we have a lot of influence from the U.S., especially from Texas, right? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's pretty industrial. The people that form this city are people that work a lot, very hard. Big companies, industrial, and they like it like this, right?
Are you kind of from this area, or?
I was born in Mexico City.
Okay.
But I've been living here in Monterrey almost 30 years right now. 25, 26.
Okay. So you've seen a lot of the different changes with all the development that's happened and a lot of the growth of this area then.
Yes. They say in Mexico it's like two countries, the north and the central south part of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in the people, in the economic growth, in the wealth.
I was very surprised to see, some of these houses and stuff around here are so nice. Not saying that there's not obviously nice houses in different parts of Mexico, but I mean, I was surprised to see just how mountainous this area is. And I was telling Rodrigo this the other day, that one of my life goals has been to have like the house on the side of a mountain. right? And it surprised me to see just how many of those there were around here. But yeah, I know it's been interesting, just to kind of see the just the subtle differences.
The city has grown so much that now you can you get houses on the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Monterrey is in a valley surrounded by big mountains, very big mountains. So, and the weather is a little bit tough, harsh. We're like in the middle of different zones from the Gulf of Mexico that it's more tropical, more humid, and if you go to Coahuila, that's more like where you went hunting today.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to be semi-desertic, so it's like we're in a zone of different changes, difficult weather. So the people here are a little bit harsh,
mm-hmm.
and they have worked very hard to become what Monterrey is right now.
Well, that's good to know. Like I said, it was interesting whenever we made the drive earlier to go hunting early this morning. I think you saying the altitude difference was like, I don't know, it was like 3,000 feet difference just in just the change in altitude. Anytime I've ever been around places that have those changes, you usually notice them pretty quick, and it's, especially when you get out and start hiking around a bunch trying to kick up game.
Yes.
You can definitely tell the air's thinner.
Yeah.
So.
Here in Monterrey, we're like 500 meters above the sea level.
Mm-hmm.
And where you went, it's like almost 1,500, 2,000.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Well, so as far as, just the different, what kind of challenges is that kind of put into play for your falconry throughout your life then, with all the different changes in the growth of the area? How many different areas have you had to go to around here to find quarry, and how has that changed over the years for you?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. 20 years ago, you could go hunting very near from your home. You could drive barely half an hour and have a good hunting ground for rabbit, hares, quails, ducks, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have to drive more than almost 2 hours from your home to get a decent hunting ground.
That's a decent haul.
Yeah. Well, you can do urban hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've done it in different times with a male Harris hawk, or you can with a Cooper's hawk, and you don't have to go out of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I've done mostly for more than 18 years is fly a couple of Harris hawks, a pair mainly, depends on the years. Sometimes a pair of females, sometimes a male and a female, sometimes only a female. I used to have a female Harris hawk that was born here from a couple of Harris hawks that had Rodrigo many years ago, and she died last year. She was 18 years old, and we used to go hunting every week. Once a week, the weekend, but sometimes 2 times a week. Depends on the work.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm sure that you have to pick and choose a lot more, if you have to drive, that amount of distance, to find a decent hunting or get to a decent hunting spot. You have to be, a lot more picky and choosy on your time frames with that.
Yeah, the thing is, you need to go to a good place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to invest time scouting before you start hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's you have to like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. Well, and I mean, just being honest, you have to like it a lot, even if it's in your own backyard. I mean, because there's enough hurdles that you have to jump, with doing this in the first place, let alone having the extra desire, to want to keep doing it whenever you have to drive 2 hours.
Yeah, having a good hunting ground is very important, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So not driving so far or so long is also important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good hurdle in these times, no?
Yeah.
Modern times. So one thing I've been thinking for the last years is I need to change somewhere, a smaller city, somewhere that you have maybe something not so urban.
What's your job? What do you do for a living around here? I mean, would that be easy for you to find another job doing what you do, like in a smaller place?
I have a small business. I've been working for more than 20 years for the food industry, food and beverage industry.
Okay.
We sell cleaning and sanitizing products for the food and beverage industry. So, well, here in Monterrey, that's a big business, a big industry in this zone. So that's something I have to think very well. Where can I go that will still have a good business for me?
And I was going to say, I mean, if you kind of run your own business, though, would it be an option if you found another smaller city that had just like some amazing jackrabbit areas around or something that you could relocate there and still, manage your business remotely? I mean, would that be an option for you? Or?
That's an option, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, how long have you been practicing falconry now?
Well, I started in my teenage. The first Harris hawk I owned was like I was 15, but I started hawking seriously like 17, 18.
Okay.
Mainly Harris hawks. Then I had a female peregrine falcon. Then I had some Cooper's hawks. And then I returned to Harris hawks.
So Harris's have been kind of your favorite?
Yeah, I love Harris hawks.
And you've pretty much primarily, cast flown them for the most part since you've gotten into them?
Yeah, that's like the ideal for me. But depends. Now you have to, all the birds you own here in Mexico have to be captive bred. Many years ago, you could have passage also, legally, but not anymore. So it depends on the availability of birds. We're blessed here in Monterrey because I've known Rodrigo for more than 20 years. We're very good friends. So we almost every year have birds to fly.
Yeah, no, he was kind of filling me in on some of the different, aspects of some of the challenges, of getting birds. And I mean, that's good that you guys kind of have a nice core of people that work with each other here. That makes things a lot easier for sure. Not just in being able to obtain birds, but also, being willing to share spots and, do all the other things that, that just make it so hard to even get into this sport in the first place. So.
Well, that's a very important thing you've said. We're supposed to have a club, Monterrey Falconry Club, but we had golden years where we were like almost 15, but not anymore. Here in Mexico, people are like pretty apathic, and so it's difficult for to work like a team in many ways. And falconry is no different. So you have to be friends. You have to be open. You have to help. So it's giving and taking.
I agree. You know, and if you do everything on your own, it's, well, number one, I think it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's kind of hard to explain to people that don't do it, but I found that your experience can be exponentially better or exponentially worse depending on the people that you have around you that you do this with. And it doesn't matter how much you like people. Sometimes they can grate on your nerves just as much as anybody else. But without the camaraderie aspect of it, it would be, I know, a little bit harder for me to like it as much. Anything where you can kind of share with other, small group of people that you trust and are willing to help you and you're willing to help them. I mean, it makes things that much more fun, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, is fun. I mean, if you're not having fun, then you're why are you doing it?
Yes. That's the thing, as you said. When I started, I read every book I could get in Mexico. And you start searching for people that know what you don't know, right? That have the experience, the knowledge, but it wasn't easy. So, well, you start getting to get acquaintance of people that can help you and make friends and start growing with them in the falconry. So that's very important, as you said. And here in Monterrey, we got to be a very nice group, and it worked very impressive for many years. But it's right now it's like we're a smaller group, but we work as a team. We help each other, and we keep on doing what we love.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that you guys have found a way to thrive in that way. Because, I mean, even in the U.S., sometimes there's some states that don't have state clubs, and there's some states that have multiple state clubs, and I mean, the relationships that even just falconers have from state to state can be so different. And I mean, just being able to have a core group of people that, whether or not you technically have an established club or not, I mean, that's a big hurdle for you guys to be able to jump. So I'm happy for you that you've found that. But so I mean, when going back to, you said that you were about 15, right? Whenever you kind of got into
the first time I had a Harris hawk, yeah.
Okay. So at what age did you kind of discover this was a thing, and what kind of got you interested?
Well, since I was a little boy, I loved animals, nature in general. I love nature. So you start learning what you love most, right? Trying, bird watching, going out to to discover, to learn, watching TV, documentaries, and you go and discover and grow with it. And you find you love it, and then you want more and more and more. So it becomes like part of your life, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, was there a defining moment, or was there a particular documentary or commentary or a particular book or something that you stumbled on that made that initial like trigger in your mind that got you, that said, okay, I definitely want to start doing this?
Well, for me, I think it was finding a friend that had like the same interests for me than I had. His name is Claudio. We used to fly every week, almost when we had the time. One day every 2 days, and we had many adventures, growing as kids and growing as falconers.
So, out of curiosity, was there a particular adventure, quote unquote, that you remember being like more of a defining one, like as far as your interaction with him as a kid? Or was there a particular experience that you had that kind of solidified that, okay, I'm going to keep doing this into adulthood? Or
he had a female harrisock that also lived like 25 years. So we went hunting many times. We did urban hunting. We went rabbit hunting. We were teenagers becoming adults. Mm-hmm. So we made trips to go and hunt wherever we thought was going to be a good adventure. But a special moment, I think we had many special moments. We had many trips that were great around Mexico. We waited for long Christmas vacations and go for almost a week and go hunting with the birds.
How what was the longest trip that you took? Like, how far away?
Well, we lived in Mexico City. We went to nearby states, but we went to Tamaulipas. That's a neighbor state from Nuevo León,
okay,
in the Gulf of Mexico, border with Texas. That was pretty far.
Okay. Yeah, because I've said this before, but I'm a geographical idiot. Like I'm terrible with geography and where things are at in relation to each other. So that does paint a little bit better picture though, as far as just the distance that you're willing to go, and as buds to go and do these trips and stuff.
And also go places where you are in the middle of nowhere, nature.
Mm-hmm. So you just camp out? Did you like take tents?
Yeah, many times we used to camp out only. So it was harsh, but we loved it. So,
that's cool. I mean, it's at least you had somebody to share all that with growing up, and I can only imagine. I mean, I've been told by many falconers that are from the older generations, how hard it was to find people back in those days, because there wasn't internet, there wasn't any ways to really get in touch with people, and if you were able to do that before the age of the internet and social media and all those different things, then I imagine that probably was pretty special.
Yeah, I see it like it makes you love it more, appreciate it, because it's not easy. It wasn't easy It wasn't easy for us, but like you said, it wasn't not. It was harsher for the first ones.
You've pretty much stuck primarily to hunting, jackrabbits, right? With your cast of Harris hawks.
Yes, mainly. Because here in the zone, in the area, we don't have as many rabbits. And when in the areas where we have rabbits, they're very small. They are very easy for a Harris hawk. Well, not easy. Depends what's easy. Yes, they're pretty fast. So that's a big challenge, but once they get one, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. So the typical like cottontail rabbits here are kind of like, I don't know, I would say like Western United States cottontails, where they're smaller but they're faster.
Yes.
Just in general. Yeah, I've noticed a huge difference. I mean, just from like the cottontail rabbit size from like east of the Mississippi, in the U.S. as opposed to like the West. They're definitely bigger, not as fast, but it's like, but those rabbits also usually have more cover. Out West they don't have as much cover, so they have to be smaller and more elusive. So, that's how it's like down in this area.
Yeah,
then?
exactly like that.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
But and also. The abundance is key. We have more hares, many more hares. So the flight is different. You know it.
Much different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got to like more to fly a cast for hares than rabbit hunting. Both are very nice, are fun, but you get like to specialize.
When you fly your Harrises in a cast, do you fly one off of each hand, or do you use a T-perch, or?
We use a T-perch.
Okay.
Because we walk in the semi-arid terrain. Yeah, and so this is how it works. You go out to the area, to the hunting ground, and the hunting ground is like small bushes, semi-desertic area. You get few grass areas. The rabbits, the hares, they hide in the bushes, right? So you walk with the birds on the T-perch, and they spot the hare, and they fly it, and you get very nice flights.
Okay, so you don't hunt with dogs or anything?
Not me, Rodrigo. Yes, and Eduardo, he used to have a couple of dogs for the hares and the rabbits, but not me. I've thought a lot of having a terrier, a Jack Russell, or something like that, but I've had, what I think is, if I don't need it.
Why add the possible complication?
Yeah. Maybe right now, because of the scares of prey, maybe I will need it.
Yeah, because pretty much the jackrabbit and the hare population down here has been pretty wiped out because of the virus, right?
Yeah, we had the same virus as the U.S. And also we've had several years of drought. So if there's no rain in the moments you need it, right, like for spring, and then in summer also, we get very scarce of prey. That's happening right now. A couple of years ago, you can go walking and see at least 10, 15, 20 jackrabbits in less than an hour. And now you walk 2 hours and you can see 5. So it's become very difficult. The thing is, I go out to hunt on Sundays mainly because of work, because of family. So you don't want to go as far away as, I don't know, more than 2 hours driving, because then it's gonna be like the whole day.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Well, it's kind of like, there's some guys that fly, falcons out west that I know that sometimes have to drive anytime they hunt, usually an hour and a half at least to get to some of their hunting spots, and sometimes those are even in a different state, from where they live. Of course, they don't live, a huge distance from, the neighboring state border necessarily, but I mean that's still it's still a big time commitment, and it's an inconvenience, unfortunately, for something that might or might not even have any returns. I mean, you can still come home with an empty bag.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why for us falconers, the best option is to live in a small city where you can get good quarry in a short distance.
Well, but that's becoming even more of a challenge now too, because how many small cities stay small for that long anymore? Development's just so rampant.
Yeah.
And it's only gonna keep getting more rampant.
Yes.
So overall, when hunting, hares or jackrabbits, down here is still not too much different than what it's like in the States. From what I've seen so far, like the quail hunting and the different aspects of, falconry is falconry, kind of wherever you go. But I mean, pretty much the how you go about it, and just the type of terrain and how you hunt the type of quarry seems like it's fairly similar from what I've seen. Have you gotten a chance much in your life to see falconry in person, in the States or anywhere else? Or
well, when I started my career, I lived in Querétaro, and I got to know Harry McElroy, and we used to go flying every week. So he introduced us to different hawking techniques, and living here in Monterrey, you different falconers from the States and from Europe have come to visit Rodrigo, and we get to know different things. In the States, I've never gone hawking with someone. No, basically, foreigners come here and go out with us.
Gotcha.
But yeah, as you say, we now hunt very similar way than in the States. When I was a young adult, we never used a T-perch. We used to hunt from the fist.
Yeah, even when you were hunting multiple birds.
Yes.
You just perch them on the same arm, or they're both one on each arm.
We were several people hunting.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you just each person would take a. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I guess now would be a good time, since we have mentioned, kind of how things have changed a little bit throughout your life. I mean, what is there a particular bird that you've had in your past that, has stuck out more as being, like a special bird? Or have you been fortunate enough to have multiple types of those birds? Or, is there one particular bird that you can remember that was kind of like your favorite? Or
Well, my favorite bird has been the female harrisawk that died last year. Her name was Maggie. She was very special. We made a great bond, and she was her first season. She only hunted one hare on the last hunt of the season.
Well, just got one head of game, huh?
She got several rabbits, and we used to go hunting the whole club. So she had a lot of teaching birds around her, right? Mm-hmm. And next season she started hunting, and then every time we go out, she hunted every time. There were some times that the first hare that jumped out, she got it, and at that time, I didn't made multiple kills.
Just one and done.
Yeah. When I fly a cast, I only do two hares in a good season, in a good hunting ground. Not more. Because I think we need to preserve what we have for future years, right?
Well, especially when the numbers have been down like they have
been.
You never know when the cycle is going to ebb and flow.
Yes, yeah. And with the climate change, it's incredible right now.
So, what other aspects of that, or I should say, what other aspects made that bird special? Then, what other traits?
She was extremely noble. She was kind. I'm married. I have 3 boys and 1 daughter, and we used to go out with my boys. And she treated them very good. When they became teenagers, they started flying Maggie.
Oh, okay. So she was well mannered enough that she let multiple people in the family fly her. That's cool.
They knew every member. She knew every member of the family very well. And she was a very good hunter. And then I used her to be a teacher for other birds.
Yeah, so she was good at indoctrinating immature birds, and casts and stuff.
Males and females.
Both. Yeah.
And we were very successful.
And is there any particular hunt that sticks out in your mind with that bird or another bird, as far as like being, that particular catch or flight or whatever that will always be the one that comes to mind first for you?
We had a lot of incredible experiences, but there are a couple. One time I went to Coahuila, and it was incredibly windy and cold. So I was there. I said, well, I've got to try it, right? Mm-hmm. And I walked, and there was nothing going out. No rabbits, no jackrabbits, nothing. And, well, I walked like at least 2 hours. And when I was returning to the car, I said, well, this has to be it. And it was made to be like that. A very big hare jumped, and we were in a very good position with the wind on our back. And so she made the chase. The rabbit was flying The jackrabbit was flying. She was running and running and running, and Maggie chased. She managed to fly with the wind on her tail and make the movement and get the jackrabbit. I had to run a lot, and she kept the jackrabbit, and it was incredible. That's the time you never forget.
I've always marveled whenever I've gone out with other friends hunting jackrabbits, and we always comment about how smart they are, and how they play the wind and they play the terrain to their advantage and stuff. And very rarely do you find one that is dumb enough to go downwind.
Well, they make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Or you're in the perfect place in the perfect moment.
Right.
And that was it. I was in the perfect place in the perfect moment. The jackrabbit had to run downwind.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Usually they always turn and go into the wind, and they know how to play the terrain in the wind.
They are incredibly smart.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you said that there was a couple events. What's the other one that comes to mind then?
The other one was we used to fly a cast, 2 females, Maggie and another female, and they made a very long chase, but extremely long. We didn't see the ending, but they got the hare, a very large hare, and when we got there, it was dead. But before that, they made several attempts to get the hare.
So they kept getting back up on their own and pursuing.
Yeah.
How many times do you think they did that?
At least 4 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a long flight then.
Yeah, it was extremely long.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing, because normally if they stoop in or miss a couple times, they may get back up and re-pursue 1 or 2 more times, but that's usually they end up giving up because the jackrabbit's already outrun them by then.
But they were in perfect condition. They were very fit, very strong. It was the end of the season.
Okay.
They were extremely that's something that's I learned a lot after going out. The bird has to be like an athlete. They have to be strong, to have the confidence to make the difficult flights.
Yeah, no, confidence is everything.
Yeah.
Especially with, pretty much any species, but especially with, goshawks.
Raptors.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if a bird doesn't have confidence, then they're going to give up. They're going to get discouraged. And, yeah, it doesn't really matter if it's a Harris, a goss, or what species. If they're not having much luck, then they don't really go all in.
And the ending that, unfortunately, we didn't see, but when we got there, they were eating after an extremely difficult flight, and it was like the 2 athletes with a prize.
Well, and so they respected each other.
Yeah, that's something that's very important for me. That the birds make a perfect bond. They understand each other. It doesn't matter if they're a male or a female or 2 females. They have to respect each other, and they have to learn the skills of each other.
Yeah, because sometimes one bird can be really, really good, and the other bird gets kind of lazy, and likewise.
That happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what I try to do is both birds have to be getting the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Getting first to the hare, to the rabbit, whatever. Because you never know. Sometimes it's going to be one bird, sometimes it's going to be the other.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I agree. There's been some cast flights that I've seen with Harris's where it almost becomes repetitious. It's the same thing every time. One bird leads, the other one follows, and it's like one bird gets in the habit, and sometimes that's a hard thing to break. When the one bird develops this habit of just kind of lagging just a little bit behind, and it lets the other bird kind of go in first each time, and then it comes in after the fact, and I know it can be kind of a tricky thing to.
Yeah, they're extremely smart,
Yeah.
and they may become lazy in some way, and it's difficult, but you have to work on it.
Yeah.
But the thing you said before about confidence, that's very important. Like they have to know they are going to get the prey, whatever prey, and they're going to be helped.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
From you, from the other bird. And well, because I've flown many birds and I've had many broken wings, flying hares.
I have heard, for whatever reason, I have heard more stories about Harris hawks end up getting hurt more. I don't know why that is.
Maybe it's the size.
Maybe.
The female Harris hawks we fly here, a big female is 900 grams to 1 kilo.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big female for us. There are a subspecies of Harris hawks that are larger or bigger in the Pacific coast, in the north, in the Arizona desert. We have a zone of Sonora and Chihuahua. That's one thing I'd like to do is fly a female Harris hawks from that subspecies. But yeah, you get very big hares here, and they fight. So if you're gonna fly, if you're gonna hunt with a Harris hawk, you have to hunt with a cast.
That's interesting to know. Like I said, there's tons of people that I know that still fly them, individual.
I used to do that, but Maggie, I used to fly her individually when no one had the opportunity to fly with me. But till the time she got her wing broke, I was lucky because her wing in perfect condition again.
Mm-hmm.
But we were lucky, right?
Yeah.
Rodrigo has a female right now for breeding purposes that I used to fly, and she has her wing broken, and she can't fly. She can't hunt anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean it can happen very easily. So yeah, it's definitely not something that you take for granted. And yeah, I mean I've seen, the casts revert. I mean, there's no question that, hunting at least a couple birds in a cast, your odds of success and the odds of both birds not getting hurt is going to be a lot better.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that I appreciate you, taking the time to, share some stories and kind of discuss a little bit about your past and you kind of, your childhood and getting into all this and stuff. But I mean, this would be a good time, I think, just to go ahead and ask you one final thing, which is, do you have any particular insight, as to something you'd like to pass on as far as just, I don't know, just, basically advice or, anything like that, maybe that you would? Well,
as a falconer, I've come to love nature in every way. We have to be thankful of having the opportunity to hunt with another living another animal as us, living in as a team, making a team, having many experiences, having the privilege of going out to the field and have a great time and appreciate what Mother Nature gives us. And we have to be thankful, and we have to be careful with her, right? Because everything we do it's going to be something that in the future will have a result. So we have to be very responsible, very loving, caring, and thankful for this sport, this art, and appreciate anyone that helps us.
Yeah, and not taking any of it for granted.
Yeah, never take it for granted.
Yeah. Well, very well said. And like I said, thank you again. I like doing some of these episodes with someone who I've never met before, because sometimes you go in and you're discovering, new things about someone that you've never obviously met before, and it kind of changes the dynamics of this some. So I'm appreciative of you doing it, and thank you. So
thank you a lot, and sorry because sometimes my English is a little bit rusty.
Oh, that's fine. you did just fine. So yeah, but thank you again, and we'll go ahead and stop this and go get something to eat.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.